Buckle your seatbelt. It's time for another episode of the Prepper Recon Podcast. I've personally been buying gold and silver from JM Bullion for over 2 years. They offer the best prices over spot that I can find, and I've never had a problem with an order. If you're looking to trade in some of your fiat paper for real money, check out jmbullion.com today. Ready Made Resources is a trusted name in the prepper community because they've been around for 18 years. They offer great prices on night vision, water filtration, long-term storage food, solar energy components, and provide free technical service. Get ready for an uncertain future at readymaderesources.com. Today's guest is Peachy Medic from YouTube. Peachy, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We had the opportunity to meet at the Atlanta Preparedness Expo a couple weeks back. Did you have a good time at the show?
You know, I did. It was very good. I got to meet you for the first time. I saw the guys from AMP3 come down. David from YouTube, he came down, and people from Ready Made Resources. A lot of your previous guests came, so that was really nice.
Yeah, it was great. It was great to get connected to some folks. I had a lot of regular listeners and a lot of folks that read the books come out, say hi, bring their books out to get signed, and so on and so forth. Just some great people doing some great stuff. A guy, Devin, he's actually built an entire team, and which is now branching out. Joe and just a lot of great people that came out to say hi, and I really appreciate that. That re-energizes me and reminds me of my need to keep pressing on and my responsibility with all of this, to see the faces and get to shake some hands and talk to folks and hear about what they're doing for preparedness and things like that. So tell us about your YouTube channel.
So, my YouTube channel, it officially started last year, and it kind of started on a fluke, really. I went to Medical Prep 101 and 201 by the Patriot Nurse. If you have not been to her classes, you need to. I highly endorse her. And there were some people there that a little bit about me. I'm a firefighter. I'm a firefighter EMT. I'm an advanced EMT, actually, and I'm finishing up my paramedic. And so I took that class just because I'm interested in, in preparedness and everything. Took the class, and there's some people that said, hey, you need to start a YouTube channel. And the Patriot Nurse, she was actually on board with it. So I started doing a video here, video there. I ran back into the Patriot Nurse at the NRA show, and actually my very first video I posted was me and the Patriot Nurse at the 2015 NRA convention. And so after that, it just kind of took off. It's been a while. I don't post videos, a lot, just because of my work schedule. I work 2 jobs, and I'm in, full-time school. So I don't post videos a lot, but I try to get high-quality information when I do post videos. And I've been fairly active on Facebook, so I've recently started that. So I try to be able to interact with my subscribers and provide good quality information. And if I don't know something, I try to give you a way or, a way to contact other people, or I'll find out the answers for you.
And then can you give us a little more detail about your background? You said you were an EMT, firefighter. What else?
Yeah, so I started, I originally was going to go military, and I kind of got talked out of doing that a little bit. But I've always had an interest in tactical field medicine, critical care medicine. So when I was actually in high school, I found out about a program that the local county that I live in was hosting, and they was going to get high school students when they were seniors in high school, and you was going to go through a program while you were in high school, and when you graduated, you was going to be a firefighter. So when I graduated high school as a senior, I was a certified firefighter, a level 2 firefighter, which is a national certification. Is pretty much the standard. Level 2 is the standard for nationally. So I went to EMT school. I did very well in EMT school. I went to advanced school. I did fairly well in advanced school as well. And I had an opportunity to get into a pretty competitive paramedic program. The teacher that teaches me is one of the EMS instructors of the year for where I live, and she's been that way for several years running. So it's a pretty competitive program. So I'm in paramedic school. I'm over halfway finished with paramedic school. But the whole time I'm in paramedic school, she has me really focusing on critical care medicine, tactical medicine. I've taken a couple tactical medicine courses, and I have lots of friends that have that background. As far as our work, I've done the fire stuff. I've done 911 on an ambulance as well, and I work in a level 1 trauma center as a specialty trauma center. I'm not going to talk, really go much in detail into that because then you'll know where I work. But it's a specialty trauma center, and I work in the emergency department there. And we see everything from gunshot wounds to cardiac arrest to you name it. We see it. We are a do-all, serve-all hospital, and the county that I work for, it's a combination fire department and EMS, and we're fairly busy county. We keep the ambulances and the fire trucks rolling. So
we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Katie Armor offers affordable body armor, including level 3 trauma plates made of AR-500 steel. These plates can endure multiple rounds from pistols and rifles up to 7.62 NATO. Use coupon code PREPPERRECON to get 10% off your entire order at katiearmor.com. That's CATI armor.com.
Get prepared before disaster strikes. PrepperRecon.com offers MOLLE-compatible individual first aid kits for your home, auto, or bug-out bag. These kits have everything you need to address a traumatic injury, including an Israeli battle dressing, quick clot, EMT shears, suture kit, steri-strips, tourniquet, tough strip bandages, and so much more. Kits are available in OD Green, Coyote, Black, and ACU. $99 includes shipping. Go to PrepperRecon.com and click the Store tab at the top of the home page. Order today before it's too late.
Besides being a first responder, because military and first responders, they for some reason don't have the normalcy bias that the larger population has for some reason or another. But aside from that, aside from what you see on your job every day, was there some event or something that woke you up to the need to be prepared?
Well, that's a hard question because growing up, my family was kind of in public safety a little bit, so I already had that going for me. But honestly, I had some family members that did some high-level military work, some special operations stuff, and some of the stuff that they were talking about, what they were doing, I wasn't necessarily agreeing with what they were doing, and of course they didn't agree with it either, but that's their job. And they started telling me about some stuff that's going on, some high-level stuff that's going on. And then, you just start watching the news. And I try my best not to watch mainstream media, but, we all do. And if you just watch TV, just the moral decay in this country is just it's really astounding. And I don't really know any other word to describe it. It's just astounding. Pastors and churches are collectively, not individually, but collectively are not preaching what they need to be preaching. We've become a very, very lackadaisical culture. We've become lazy. We've become a give me culture. And we spend money like like it literally grows on trees. And just the way that things are working, the way our medical system's set up, where our power and energy system's set up, I'm talking about on a grand scale, not locally, but on a grand scale. The system is designed to fail. It wasn't that way originally, but we've changed it, manipulated it to a point where it's designed to fail. And I thoroughly believe that that one day, I'm not gonna say it's today or tomorrow, but one day that the system will fail, and when that does, or if it's not a complete failure, it'll be a partial failure, and when that does, there'll be a lot of people left out to dry because they are not prepared for they're not even prepared, honestly, to take care of themselves, much less anybody else.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we could unpack through that, but I think the big thing there was that fortunately, you've had enough people in your life that are turned on, tuned in enough to where you never really got plugged into the matrix, and all you had to do is choose to not take the blue pill and not go to sleep and not bury your head in the sand. And through that, you've always sort of had an awake mentality. And I loved what you said about you've got family in the military. There's a lot of folks in the military that they're doing their job, and we really appreciate everything that they're doing. But new folks that are considering going in, I think they have to think about stuff like, what am I going in here for? Am I going in here to protect the freedoms of America? Because when you look at Marine Monica Sterling, who was court-martialed because she had a placard on her desk that said, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper." It didn't even have the Bible verse address on it. That's all it said. But because of that placard on her desk, she was court-martialed. So we have to say, am I giving up my own constitutional rights? And if I'm doing that, how could I be protecting the constitutional rights of the country? And of course, most military bases, you're not allowed to carry. So and there's another right that you're having to give up. You're having to give up your right to free speech and your right to bear arms to go protect rights. There's some inconsistency in that message right there. And I think that's a lot of what are causing a lot of folks like yourself to say, is there a better way for me to serve my country besides the military? So, I think that's great. I think it's a great thing for folks to process and ask themselves for when they're making that type of decision.
Yeah, and like I had to make the decision: do I want to serve my country on a grand scale, and still serve my interest, which wanting to do medicine, particularly flight medicine, or could I work on a local level, serve the people that I'm around all the time in my local community, and see if I can make a difference there, and still one day aspire to do my goal of flight medicine and critical care medicine. So.
And do you think medical preparedness has a tendency to be overlooked by preppers?
Yes. The simple answer, yes. Medical preparedness to me is overlooked by everyone, though. Just as a system, the framework that our medical system is in right now is not designed to really help anyone. I know that sounds bad, but it's not designed to help people. It's designed to mask symptoms and to make money, and that's honestly what it's about. The system at large does not encourage individuals to empower themselves and be what we call in the medical community, they call it being a patient advocate. They do not encourage you to be a patient advocate because that's not a great way to make money. That's also it makes you reliant on the existing medical system. And when you, just like with anything else, if you rely on anything else for your power, your water, whatever, any other prepping type of subject, other systems are inherently going to fail. And it's not even a diabolical plan that they're going to fail, but sometimes things just stop working, and when they do, you need to be prepared for it. Now, I understand that not everybody has the luxury of going to medical school and being a doctor or being an EMT, a paramedic, nurse, whatever, but the basic wherewithal of medical knowledge that everybody had, I'll say 50 or 60 years ago, not that long ago, is really gone from this culture, because now we want the quick, fast thing. We go to the hospital, we go to the local doctor, he's going to give me a pill for it, or they're going to, slap a Band-Aid on it and call it a day. And you're used to that. We expect that, and we cannot take care of ourselves. We've got ourselves to that point where we cannot take care of ourselves.
And what do you think preppers overlook medical preparedness, though? I mean, for folks that are supposedly turned on to disasters and the things that can go wrong, why do you think they sort of skip that area sometimes?
Well, I think preppers skip it because it's not what sells. Medical, if you see medical stuff on TV, you see the TV dramas, you see them, doing all these advanced procedures, you see stitches, IV fluids, and all these I'll say the sexy medical things, for lack of a better term. But, we all like guns. We like beans, bullets, and Band-Aids. You can see, my stockpile of, 25 years worth of food, and you can see my 100 guns in my, underground bunker and my, million rounds of ammunition. That's tangible things that you can see. But preppers, when it comes to the medical aspect, though, preppers, they can't brag necessarily about, hey, look how many Band-Aids I have, or, look how much Neosporin I have, or, that you can't, that's not quite as cool to your friends to brag about. So therefore we just tend to kind of put that in the corner and just leave it there. Like, oh, well, one day, I'll learn about what an infection is. And then one day, I'll learn how to address this cut. But for now, I'll just keep my tourniquet. And, if I chop my leg off, I'll be good to go. They don't consider the full gamut of what actually happens. So I hope that kind of answers your question a little bit.
Yeah. The Walking Dead, you see a lot more assault rifles and crossbows than you see quick clot and IBDs, don't you?
Yeah.
Can you give us some tips on assessing someone who may have been injured in a car wreck, explosion, or some other disaster?
Okay, so when it comes to a patient assessment, so if there's one thing that I can tell anybody, prepper or even non-prepper, the biggest key in anything in medicine is your patient assessment, okay? Because it doesn't matter how good you are, what your skills are, or what interventions you can do for that person if you don't know what's going on. If you can't look at the patient and see the signs and symptoms that they're giving you, it does you no good. So when you start doing a patient assessment, the first thing we want to assess is their level of consciousness, their alertness. If they're talking to you, they're more than likely okay. If you rub them on their chest or you pinch their shoulders and they respond to that, then okay, that's a little bit better. Now, if they're completely unresponsive, that's a whole nother problem. But we want to assess their level of consciousness. The next thing we want to look at is their airway. So there's three things that will kill you: a compromise in your airway, a compromise in your breathing, or your circulation. So we call those ABCs. So if any one of those three things is out of whack, it will kill you. So you want to make sure that their mouth is open, that that there's no blood in their nose, there's no blood in their mouth, they're not vomiting. If they are, you need to turn them on their left side. And get all that stuff out. I would not advise putting your finger in a patient's mouth because even out of reflex, they may bite your finger off. And I know that sounds funny, but it's actually happened to folks. So you need to be aware of that. So see if you can get whatever's inside their mouth. See if you can get it out of their mouth. The next thing you need to look at that they're breathing. First of all, that they are breathing. Okay, as long as they're breathing. You can work with that. If you're not breathing, you have a whole other problem. So we want to make sure they're breathing. If you have a CPR mask or a bag valve mask, which is the big bag that you see them on TV, where they're putting air into somebody's chest. That's what they use on TV. If they're not breathing, you can use or shallowly breathing. They're not breathing enough. You can use things like that and kind of help them along with breathing. Never put lips to lips. We don't do that anymore. They used to teach that a long time ago. Don't do that though. Use some sort of barrier no matter what you do. Also, their circulation. You want to make sure that they have pulses. So that's a key thing. You want to put your fingers on the side of your neck and make sure you feel little bumps on your fingers. That'll be their carotid pulses. Next thing, you want to put your fingers on the inside of their wrist. It may take you just a minute, but put two fingers on the inside of your wrist, and those are called your radial pulses. We want to make sure we have pulses. If you don't have pulses, that means your heart's not beating correctly, or that means you're in a really late sign of shock, where your blood, your body's an amazing thing. God designed your body amazingly, so that when your core is in trouble, when your heart or your major organs are in trouble, that your blood goes away from your hands and from your feet, and it goes back to protect your heart and your brain. So we want to make sure we have pulses. And if we do, then that's good. That's a pretty good sign. If you see any major bleeding, try direct pressure first. Make sure you're wearing gloves. That's very important to protect yourself. Try direct pressure first. Just hold some gauze down over the bleeding, and it should stop. Now, in a worst case, and where you got shot, or you're in a car accident and you have major bleeding, a tourniquet would then be your best bet. But usually, if you can assess their level of consciousness and they are alert and their airways open, they're breathing fairly decent at a normal rate. For an adult, that'd be about 10 to 20 breaths a minute. And you just put your hand on your chest and on your patient's chest and just kind of figure that out and watch them breathe. And as long as they have pulses, and they're not bleeding, majorly, and they look okay, you're doing pretty well at that point. And that's an assessment that most any medical provider would do, just that basic assessment.
Hey, Preppers and Patriots, that's the end of the first half of my interview with Peachy Medic. Tune in next week for the rest of the show.
In 7 Cows, Ugly and Gaunt, Book 1, Behold Darkness and Sorrow, Daniel Walker begins having prophetic dreams about the judgment coming upon America for rejecting God's word. Through one of his dreams, Daniel learns of an imminent threat of an electromagnetic pulse attack, sending the country into a technological dark age. If they want to live, Daniel and his friends must focus on faith, wits, and preparation to be ready before the lights go out. Buy your copy of 7 Cows, Ugly and Gaunt, Book 1, Behold Darkness and Sorrow, by best-selling author Mark Goodwin, in paperback, Kindle, or audio edition from Amazon.com today.